Welcome to Tea Talk. I'm so glad to see each of you all here today. And as always, we have an amazing speaker and topic to discuss today. So you will not be disappointed. Today, we're going to talk about theater and the impact that it has had on our community and as well as in the church. We're going to talk about different communities and different theaters and get a little history on some of those theaters. But the main thing is we have a special guest who has been at all these theaters and who knows what's going on in the theaters right now, what's coming up, and can help give us an insight and answer any question we have about the theater. I'm sure she can answer it. But I am really especially honored because she not only is an actress and a wonderful one, I might say, but she is also she's also in our family. She is none other than my daughter in love, who's married to my baby Jordan. And her name is Michelle Elaine Ogletree, and she goes by Michelle Elaine as a theater name. So help me welcome Tea Talk, Michelle Elaine.
Hey, thank you.
Welcome. So good to have you today on Tea Talk.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, even though I know you personally, I've never asked you some of these questions. So I'm going to be getting some information as well. So theater, when did you first think about being in theater, and did you think you grow up to actually do it?
I sometimes when I'm like, oh, what's going on with my career, or I don't get this opportunity or that. Sometimes I think about that very thing, Lady O. I think about how this is all I've ever wanted to do. There was like a quick minute where I was like, oh, I could be a marine biologist. And I was like, wait, oh, they got to go underwater. So no, that's not going to work. And then,
No way.
ever since then, it's just been theater. I think maybe second or third grade, we had drama as an ancillary. And the theater teacher just passed out some scripts, and I happened to be the best reader in class. And so for that reason, she made me the lead part, and I continue to be the lead part. I'm sure my theatrical skills helped, but I know that she chose me because of how well I could read the script. And ever since then, I was like, I think I want to do this. So then I studied in middle school. I went to Johnston, which is now Meyerland Middle School, and took theater. And then I did it again in high school. And when I got to college, I had to choose if I wanted to major in theater or Spanish. And after I visited Howard, I was like, no, I definitely, and I learned all of the legends that I admired and whose work I followed came from Howard. I was like, no, we're going to major in theater, we'll minor in Spanish. And it just never crossed my mind to do anything else.
Wow. Well, I just learned something else too, because I knew, I know rather that when I met you, Jordan said, oh, she speaks Spanish. I'm like, where did she learn to speak Spanish? Because you were actually pretty fluent in it. And now I know that when you minored in Spanish. I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, I learned theater. I learned Spanish in elementary school. My mom put me in a dual language program in second grade, where we learned math, science in Spanish and Spanish language for second through fifth. So I was fluent in Spanish by the time I graduated elementary school, and then I continued taking Spanish throughout. And like I said, I chose to pursue theater more.
Wow, wow. Okay, and then you also mentioned Howard University. So, what was it like when you got the letter? Because you had to apply to Howard, I know, and getting accepted. So, what was it like getting into college? Because a lot of the people who are on there, their children are wanting to go into theater, or they're thinking about going in, or they're thinking about getting into Howard. Tell us about that phase of your life.
Um, I did go and visit, and I did have to audition. I actually auditioned with a lady who became my acting professor, and the rest was history. I mean, I got there, and I think it was shocking to see how many other brown folks had the same vision that I did when I got to Howard, because I had a class of acting folks and then also musical theater majors, which I had never really been introduced. So I was really blown away by the triple threats. I was like, oh, look at what they can do. So I definitely felt fortunate, especially because like on the first day you walk around or you sit there and everyone goes around and says, hi, I'm Michelle. And people were like reading their resumes. It became a whole big show. I was on Nickelodeon, I was on Disney, and I was like, oh, well, I did a play in high school. So that's when I kind of realized like, oh, this is a real, like legit thing. Like people are going to build careers, and some of them had already had
yeah, a little head start, huh?
Right, they had a start.
Wow. Well, I know that it's in your blood because my little grandbaby Harper, when she's here, I mean, it's like it's a theatrical production at my house. I mean, it's like she's auditioning for me to put her into something. And honestly, if I had a place to put her, I'd put her because I know she's already qualified. Just from the time she was born, it's been in her blood. I remember when I went to the hospital that day, and they were washing her hair. And I don't know if I've got it on videotape. They were washing her hair. She was going, oh, oh, and she was making these sounds. I was like, is she okay? She said, no, she's just enjoying it. So she was a theatrical baby when she was born the first day. But okay, so this is really great. So there are opportunities, but like you said, when you get up there, when you're little, like you're doing your Easter speech or whatever, you're good, you're in high school, but when you get into where people are actually going to make careers and you realize, wow, there are other people that are as good as I am, or some maybe even better. Like I know what you mean by that triple threat. They can sing, dance, and act, and they're good at all three of them. Whoa. So how did you went ahead and got your degree? Were you kind of intimidated, or what steps would you do if a person was wanting to go into acting career? What steps do they need to do?
Well, it's good to know if you prefer, you can do both, but it's good to know if you prefer theater or film, because the walks are different. If there are people who are just like, no, I just want to be in the theater. You want to get really good and get connected in the theater and get really good at auditioning. And when if you're so fortunate to get the job, build relationships, talk to people. The best relationship builder is being professional on the job. You definitely don't want to come in there being a diva, because the word gets out that you were difficult to work with. You couldn't get along with your castmates or the production team. That's never a good thing. And that does catch on and prevent people from having a good job. But when you come on, you know your lines, you bring, you do your work, you're building the character, show up on time. You would be, as a young person, you'd be surprised to know how much just doing the job well when you book it will get you more jobs in the future. Because when they have another production, they're going to call you, and theaters call one another. That's what I've learned working at the Ensemble Theater, that they call each other. The artistic directors call each other and say, I have a role for an African-American woman who can do this, that, and the third. She needs to be able to play an old woman, but also a 35-year-old woman. She has to be able to sing. We want to make sure that she can do this. And they send each other names. That's a lot of what I do for Miss Eileen. She says, Susie Q wants 5 Latino actors. Can you go in our repertoire and, in our thing and see what do we have? So that's a lot of what theaters do for casting. And then film is a lot different. You're going to have to audition a lot in front of the camera, because that's what you're ultimately going to be doing, is performing in front of the camera. That takes a lot more work with getting connected and visible, like on social media and things like that, and just really, really good. It's very difficult to land an agent for a lot of folks. I've been fortunate in that department, but
wow.
Train, to answer your question, Lady O, train, be professional, show up, do the job well, and build relationships.
That's good. And I like the one you said about being on time. That's one of the issues. I've been talking with a lot of people about different things. And the biggest complaint they've had is that people don't want to come on time. And on time means that if it starts at 9, you're not getting there in the door or driving in the parking lot at 9. I would say to be 15 minutes early is good. If
Yeah.
you're there 30 minutes early, I think that's for me would be best, because like you said, they talk, everybody talks, whether they're acting, or whether they're on a medical job where you're doing technology, whatever. Other people talk with other people that need people like that, and that goes a long way, because a lot of times, like I said, you can't get along with people. You might be the greatest actress in the world, but I know there's one particular one, and I won't call her name, but um, I was told that she's been blackballed because she's so hard to get along with. And people said things about her because of the way she is, so how she talks about other people on stage, and how she does with the people she works with. So that's really key, not only in acting, but in every job you do. It's so important for that you get along with people and be on time, and be prepared, and do your best. So thank you for that. Now let's switch a little bit, because I really want to talk a lot more about what you're doing right now. I know that you are working at the ensemble, and you told us a little bit about what you do there. Can you tell us a little bit more, and what's coming up, or what you've done at the ensemble?
Yeah.
And what the ensemble is? So I'm taking for granted everybody knows what the ensemble is. After today, they will. So tell them what the ensemble is.
The Ensemble Theater is the oldest and largest Black theater in the Southwest. And we actually are one of only a few Black theaters who actually own their building, which is an amazing thing, and affords us an opportunity to do a lot of great things in-house. Um, and it was founded by George Hawkins. We are right on Main Street, and now it's exciting with the light rail that we have our own stop at 3535 Main Street. So when you come to the Ensemble Theater using the light rail, the stop is the Ensemble Theater. So you know exactly where you're going. And our artistic director is Miss Eileen J. Morris, who was right there at the founding of the theater, which is amazing because she is a wealth of historical knowledge. And we tell stories through the Black perspective. They're honest and true stories that everyone can relate to, no matter your race, but it comes through that special perspective, that special lens and special voice of African Americans. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. We have wonderful programs. The biggest being our Young Performers program, because like Howard, a lot of great names have come out of the Young Performers program. I myself took the Young Performers program when I was in middle school, and I love it. It's for young creatives 6 through 17. You get to learn several different theatrical disciplines, and then we mount a student-led production at the very end to culminate the program, also known as summer camp for the parents out there. It's a summer camp.
Lamborghini went there, right? Her performance was amazing. It was cats. I know they were cats, and she also did, Christmas is Coming Uptown in an actual production there. So our family has a lot of history there. George Hawkins, pastor's mother, bishop's mother, taught him. So we have a lot of connection in history. Yeah, we're family with the Ensemble Theater. And if you have not become a member, or have not joined, is there a website you can give that they could call and make sure that they join? And when you join, you get to come to different productions and special prices and seating. And you are promoting, helping to promote this Black theater that she just described, which is it's in the historic district. It is phenomenal. So you got to join, support, and you got to go and attend some of these events. So we'll put that website up if you'll give it out.
Yes.
We can put it. Okay, what is it?
Yes, ma'am. It's ensemblehouston.com. And yes, become a season holder, a season subscription holder, because like Lady O was saying, there are a whole lot of perks. You get discounted tickets. You get to choose your seats first before other folks, so you can sit right where you want to sit. And there's special events and things that cater to the season subscription holders. We have previewing this Saturday. Today's the 7th and Saturday is the 9th, right? Yes,
Yeah.
Saturday the 9th.
Well, beginning Saturday, yeah, because this will show on the 9th. Yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Broke the illusion there. This the Saturday the 9th is the first preview of our show Single Black Female, not just for singles, but singles will enjoy it. And it's about two African American middle class women who are in this journey of love and life and careers, and they find that they can bond with one another, discussing and navigating how to find love and how to just thrive as women, how to find their identity. And so it's really good look and this generational middle-aged look at single Black women, but it's also really good for all of the generations to see and compare and to learn and see what's being passed down. So it's really nice.
Well, you know,
It's a comedy. It's funny.
And it's funny too. I mean,
Yeah.
And I like that about all of them. All of them are historic. You got some historic, some information, and they make you laugh, and sometimes they make you cry. But it's very, very good. And most of the actors and actresses are African American. I mean, I've seen some that you've had special characters where you've had to bring in some other races, but predominantly you're going to be seeing African American and seeing and supporting African Americans, because the truth is that we don't always get the parts in a lot of the other different theaters and different films. So this is a good opportunity to support them. So so anyway, what I was saying is I was really thinking about, we've got to get a bunch of our singles to go down there together and see the play and go out to eat and talk about it, you know, or go back home over popcorn at somebody's house and kind of dissect it. That's what I like to do. So all you single groups, do that. And then of course, the others of us that are not single, we've been single before, so I'm sure we'll enjoy it as well. We're going to go and support and laugh and find out some fun things about singles and kind of reflect, because we all have been single at one time.
Yes, ma'am.
So now, talking about getting difficult and getting into the other theaters, I noticed that with the last, I think, probably 3 or 4 shows that I've gone to see you in have not been at the ensemble. They've been at some of the what we would call more the white theaters. And so, you know, we didn't talk about it, but you've been at some shows at the ensemble. But I noticed now you've been really busy. You work at the ensemble, but now you are acting at some other theaters. Tell us about how difficult it was to break and to get into there. And then tell us what you do where you work at the other theaters and what you've done and what's coming up.
Yes, ma'am. Well, yes, you're right. When I graduated Howard, the first door I knocked on was the Ensemble Theater, because I knew from being there that it felt like home, even in middle school. So at the Ensemble Theater, I did Knock Me a Kiss, I did Vera Stark, G's Bend, Jitney. I've understudied Jitney, but I went up for Jitney and did Lotto, Experience, The Dream, and I sure hope that I'm not forgetting any titles. But as you can see, I did quite a few shows there, in addition to doing their touring and education program, where we travel to different schools and perform for children. And people at different theaters saw my work. Looks like I said, they shop around. Not only do theater folk like to see theater, and so that's how they learn who's performing, who's good, who can do this, who can do that. But they just also, you know, enjoy it, but they can cast from that as well. And I know for certain that one of the casting directors that I have a relationship here in Houston saw me in Vera Stark, and from there invited me to audition for something else at another theater. I did a show also at the Theater Southwest very early on called Bug. You came to see that lady.
I did see that one.
It was a long time ago. And that's actually a well-supported community theater that a lot of folks go to as well. And my name just started kind of getting out. I did the Alliance auditions, which is where all of the theaters in Houston come to one place and watch you do a monologue or sing a song or both. And so from there, you'll get a call saying, we liked your audition. We want you to audition for these shows in our season. And I was just fortunate that people liked my work. And well, I worked hard too, I'm gonna say, but it still takes fortunate. I was fortunate that people liked my work and wanted to hire me. So I worked at Stages Theater early on, the Classical Theater Company. And then the first time that I worked with the Alley, who you've seen me work with quite a bit this season, was as an understudy. There was a young lady that who they flew in from New York to play a role in Vanya Sonia Masha Spike. And her dad became ill. He ended up being okay, but her dad became ill and she needed an understudy in case, his condition got worse. And that was my first time at the Alley Theater. And I did a good job. I never even went up, but when we had a rehearsal to see if I knew the part from watching her doing it exactly the way she did it, I did it. And they said, great job. And so I was ready if I needed to go up. And then they auditioned me to do something else and then something else. And so right now I'm in rehearsal for Dead Man's Cell Phone, which previews April 15th.
Okay.
I closed Sense and Sensibility, which you and Bishop came to see.
That was amazing. I just saw that a couple of weeks ago. That was one of the shows I took Bishop for his birthday. Was on this run for the month of March, but Sense and Sensibility was amazing.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
For that one,
before that, I did Sweat at the Alley Theater.
That was hilarious.
Yes. And that was a very different show than Sense and Sensibility. After Sweat, I did my first Christmas show ever, which I was really excited about because most of the time the musical theater people are the only people who get to do to do Christmas shows because everybody wants to sing at Christmas. But I was allowed Christmas show for the first time ever, and I was so geeked. At 80 Players, I did the Christmas Shoes, where I played a woman whose marriage was on the rocks, but we were able to reconcile. And
that was
it's been a good year. To have 4 shows in a theatrical season is a very big deal, and I'm very grateful for that.
Right. And that's what I was looking. I was like, you've been so busy. I mean, for months, I think since before November, you have been steady having something, and now you got something coming up, even though you just closed the last one down. It's like back to back. You barely get a chance to breathe. So this is really good. Now, the 2 things that you did not mention was that you did have a TV production, and then also we're going to talk about that. And then also the something else that the ensemble does is working with churches and what we're going to be doing, what's coming up. So let's talk about your, what was it called? It was the African
Underground.
Show. Yes. Tell us about how you got that and what was it like doing something on TV?
Underground was amazing. That actually was a huge testimony because I auditioned for a character named Liddy, which was a small part. She was Underground focuses on slaves on a plantation, a Macon plantation in Georgia. And they break out and go through the Underground Railroad. And you get a really good look at what's going on inside the house in this story. And I was a house slave, but to make it short, I auditioned for a role that was not going to be large at all. I was going to be a house slave, but for whatever reason, the young lady that they ended up casting in another role couldn't do it for whatever reason. And so I just kind of got bumped up to her role.
All right.
And those 2 roles just kind of consumed each other. They put them in one. And so I became Cora, and honestly, a large part of the first season, it was like half kind of like a background, but also with some lines. And they were impressed with the storyline that did come through in the first season and invited me back for the second season. So that was a really great experience.
Right. Well, we all at first met, we were like, and she's coming on, and we were all looking and whatever. We could see you, and you had lines, and we were like, wow, we were so proud, and it was just amazing to see you online. And then, like you said, to get invited back is the next thing. Will they invite you back for the next season? And they did. So we were really proud of that as well. Now, and I know you've been in several commercials and all those kind of things. I've seen that too. So it's not just one thing, but theater has come to be what it is. You have done really excelled in, and that's pretty much what you're the majority of your work as an actress has been in theater. Now, another thing that the ensemble does, and they've come to First Met for Christmas productions for the last 5 years, maybe, I think it is. And now they're coming to us for Easter. And so we're so excited to have the Ensemble Theater at First Metropolitan Church as our Easter production. So can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to see? Or
Yes, ma'am. So this year, First Met has commissioned Crystal Ray, who is an amazing local writer. Definitely want to know her. She's an amazing local writer. She was gracious enough to say, "Hey, yeah, I'll write something for you." And she even wrote something, and then Pastor Johnny was like, "Can you kind of do it like this?" And so she changed it up. And this story is a fictional story, but obviously that focuses on the real story of Jesus's crucifixion, that follows Barabbas. She's named him Barabbas the Bus Johnson, I believe is the title of play. Barabbas was the murderer, the prisoner that they set free,
right.
and then decided to hang to crucify Jesus. But you see Barabbas's life, his family is a wife and son, and because he's not a bad guy, not a good guy, he is a gang leader in this
Oh, wow.
production, right? And so you see his gang members who one by one start to realize that they know Jesus in their lives from miracles that he has worked in their lives. And I'm not going to spoil it, but Barabbas gets one-on-one time with Jesus in this jail cell.
Whoa.
And
I'm
the
getting chills just
I know it's
uh,
really she did a really good job, because it
yeah.
brings it home in a modern day kind of way, the sacrifice that he really took for all of us.
Yeah.
And you get to see yourself in Barabbas and him loving his family. So it's really
Wow.
nice.
So you know where you need to be on Easter Sunday. You need to be at First Metropolitan Church, 8870 West Sam Houston Parkway North, because the ensemble is going to be there to help us, and we got the word going forth. There's going to be music. We believe that Christmas and Easter are the two main days that of the year that we as Christians feel like we need to go above and beyond to celebrate and to remember. And in that remembering, we want to also present Jesus Christ to the community and to give them a true rendition or picture of what Jesus Christ means to us and is a part of our life, and how it can be a part of their lives too. So you need to plan to come, and I'm glad that you gave us that little intro, because you want to have your teenagers there. They need to know about, because they see the gang side of life, and they see all this stuff on social media and on TV. Well, they need to have an encounter with Jesus Christ, and it's nothing like putting it in a pictorial thing like a play to make it come to life to them. So bring your children, bring your little children, bring your teenagers, your young college students. Tell them it's going to be different. It's going to be alive, and it's going to be not only enjoying, but it's going to make a difference in their life. So they need to make sure they're going to be there. Now we have two times that we're going to be doing this. It's going to be at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning and at 11. So you got two chances. If your teenager wants to sleep a little late, say, okay, you get up at 8, but you're going to be there at 11 o'clock. Get there early so you can get a good seat. It's going to be, as typically Easter is crowded. And they've taken down the mask thing, so you can wear your mask or you don't have to. It's up to you, because the CDC is not requiring that we do that at this particular time. So you do need to come on. Of course, if you're sick, do not come. We will, we will, I think we're going to be streaming, and I'm not quite sure, but whatever the case, you need to be there. You just need to be there. Okay, so let's see. Michelle Elaine, I didn't ask you anything about your family, but I know that when people are thinking about being an actress or an actor, that there are certain things, the sacrifices that they make with their family and their time. So how do you manage? Because I know you have two of the cutest little kids I've ever seen,
Oh, wow.
my latest two grandbabies. And so how do you manage your life with all of this? I know you have to rehearse weeks, right?
Mhm. We rehearse typically a month. Honestly, Lady O, with a family, I'm blessed to have an amazing husband. You did a good job.
Yay.
Um,
Thank you.
because he has not Jordan is my biggest champion. He believes in me more than I believe in myself half the time. And he knows that I work hard to perform, to make sure that when people come to the theater that it's not just mediocre, that it's really, really good. He
Right.
sees the struggle, and because of that, he's there supporting me. And right now the support looks like bedtime. When I go into tech, which I'm going in tomorrow, which means bedtime is pretty much done other than Monday nights. Mondays are the only days off for actors, for most actors anyway. So Jordan does bedtime and dinner time and all the things. I don't even pick the kids up because it doesn't make any sense for me to leave the theater and then come, rush right back in. He picks them up, he does dinner, he does bath, and he does bedtime. And then I take the mornings. And it's all day Saturday and all day Sunday. He just, thankfully, like I said, he's a good husband, but he's an amazing father. So he enjoys being with his children. And that's pretty much it.
Well,
Having a good
good.
spouse helps.
Oh yeah. And having good Nana and Papas and
Yes,
grandmothers.
Nana and Papa have watched the children many a times. My mom has watched them, and having folks who you can call, the neighbors. I'm like, can you just watch these kids for just a little bit while we step outside to breathe some air in, please? The type
Yeah.
of Nana
It
and
does
Papa,
take
y'all
a
have been a huge help.
Yeah, it does take a village, and so, but we get our Nana and Papa time, so we'll have them come over and spend the night to give Jordan a
Yes.
break. So, and we're happy to do that. And I know your mother does the same thing when she's like, "Can you keep them overnight?" We go like, "Yeah, we can keep them overnight. We can keep them for 2 days," and then sometimes they'll say, "Can you keep them for 3 days?" Like, well, I don't know about
Yeah.
3.
We
Well,
will see how long we can get you to keep them too.
exactly. So sometimes they do that, and and they said, well, one time they said, well, can you just take them to the nursery the next morning? And I tell you what, we won't do that one again, because me and the little nursery lady was about to have a little knockdown. She was saying, "Oh, you're late. We can't take them." "Oh yeah, you gonna take these kids this morning?" So we laughed about that, and she did take them, and we were all happy. But it was like a stressful situation going from here over there. Is so far.
Yes, it
So,
is.
but it is a joy. But so, what about your next? What is your next like? What are your future? What are your goals and visions? What do you think you're going to go from here, or what would you like to go from here?
Well, I actually, after I close Dead Man Cell Phone in May, I'm going to, I think I have like a week off, or maybe I don't even have any time off. I'm going to do a 29-hour festival at 80 Players, again with that same writer, Crystal Ray. She wrote a play that they're going to workshop over at 80 Players. And then my next thing is creating a webisode. I'm not going to talk much about it because I don't want to give anything away or spoil it. But I have a friend and we wrote a little something, and we need to produce it. I actually got grant money to produce this webisode and collaborate with the local colleges to have the theater and film students. It's going to be like a theater and film hybrid to make this piece. I can say that it follows me. It follows an actress who is trying to be cast in TV and film. And I said, you know what? If this wasn't a dramedy, it could be a comedy.
Okay,
what
that's a
you
new
have to
word,
go,
dramedy.
right? What you have to go through to just get cast in something in TV and film, it's so crazy. So we just made fun of that. We highlighted the struggle and made fun of it. That's pretty much what it's about. Long term, or I guess in the future, my prayer has been that what I feel that my talents are, which is performing and also producing, which is I do a lot of that on my jobs, would be my bread and butter, would be consume my time. And right now, I am living in that right now. I prayed that to Jesus, and I can honestly say he did it. He was like, you said that you wanted your time to be consumed with and your money to come from this thing, and he actually did that. And so I'm living in an answered prayer right now. And in the future, I want it even more, whether that's on the stage or in front of the camera. I just want to perform.
Yeah.
And be in the performance, in the production realm.
Well, I know that you're well capable of doing it. You just need that break. And so we'll be praying with you also that people will see you and they will. I know that what the Alley Theater has received from you in these productions, that somebody out there saw something and they're going to be talking about it. So you just need that one step, that one opportunity. So we'll be praying for God to give that to you.
Thank you.
And yeah, so and I know you're going to be also putting your little daughter into something because she is just a natural, and I know that's something else. Maybe Jordan will have to be one of those not TV mothers, but TV dads. Have you seen have you seen my daughter? Let me see him show you my daughter. But we'll be here to help you in whatever a way that that you need and supporting you. But I just wanted people to know that it does take a lot of sacrifice. It's not your typical 9-to-5 job. And so that way you would grow to even appreciate not only the job that it takes, but the people that come to entertain us. And I know one other thing you didn't mention either, and I'm gonna, Tish, you have to tell me about my time here. But one other thing you did not mention was during the pandemic, you were doing this, where, you know, you would call and they would call you to do like a thing where, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the little people here in the audience here. You know, where you would go and do the different scavenger hunts and things. You know what I'm talking about? You'd have the hat on and whatever. What was that all about? It was so much fun. We had you for a couple of things. Even the church did.
Yeah, that was actually a connection that Jordan made on set. He was on set on a few different projects, and this young lady named Kat Nelson, who has her own kind of custom experience company, invited him to do these scavenger hunts that she does here in Houston through Airbnb. So folks, when they come to town, or people who already live here, can be like, I want to know Houston more. And so Jordan would meet them at the Herman Park and start them on the way for their scavenger hunt. So they would complete like 1 or 2 missions right there at Herman Park. Well, when the pandemic hit, she had to go completely virtual. So she took all the things she was doing in her scavenger hunt and put them in one virtual experience. And it's called the Living Room Legends Scavenger Hunt. By Alley Cat Adventures. That's the name of the company, Alley Cat Adventures. And I auditioned for that. She was like, hey, can you know, when she would, because she had to audition for Airbnb, she's like, can you play the game with me with a few other folks? And so I played the game, and she thought that there was something in me that would make a good host. And I was actually like her pilot host during the pandemic.
Yeah.
She was doing all her challenges by herself. And then she was like, Michelle, I want to put you on. And it just took off from there. People really received me and I was having a blast. It's just 1 hour. And so there would be me, I've just one game after another, after another, after another. And then that's when you guys started having interest in starting some of your church meetings or gatherings online with a little pop of fun.
Mhm.
And you enlisted me,
Yeah.
and I checked with her, and she said, "Yeah, go do this." And it's been a lot of fun. I still do that. I can't do it as much when I'm in a show, but I still do that. It's a really great blessing to us for me to be able to get online in the comfort of our home, put on a hat, and make money.
Right.
To put it plainly.
Exactly. That's what I was really excited about. I was like, okay, even though you can't go out, you got to be creative and to make money. And I was hoping that that is something that you would keep because you're so good in it. And when you have kids, you could, hire a sitter, come in or take them somewhere for an hour or two, and you could sit there and make money. But just some examples of places that you, because people may not have heard about it, because I never heard about it. But anyway, it's almost like I would say when you do, when you have these meetings, you said who's going to do the what's it called?
Icebreaker.
Icebreaker. Okay. So for me, it's a glorified icebreaker. And so it could be in the form of a scavenger hunt. I like that you pull in the theme for whatever they're doing. Like if it's a bunch of ladies who are from a group that wear purple hats, then you would kind of pull some of that in there. If it was a group of, people who are having a birthday party for a 50-year-old person, then you will pull some of those in there. If you were from Chicago, wherever you're from, you could curtail that. So if you're looking for someone to do, I think you did office parties. What are some of the places that you actually did? Do you remember?
To name a few, Lady O, I
Okay.
have hosted Amazon, Netflix, Google. Those are like the biggest ones. Facebook. These are all groups. Honestly, what I learned in the pandemic is there were large amounts of companies that were virtual before the pandemic, where they're just used to not ever meeting their coworkers in person because one person is in Finland and the other person is in Australia or whatever. So I've done a lot of team building through the scavenger hunt, a lot of team building exercises for these companies. Sometimes the companies say, hey, we just need a relief in our day that's all online. So they bring in, the scavenger hunt to give the team something to play, recess, if you will. I've done celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, retirements. Like you said, we cater it very ever so simply to the occasion, but it's still the same game. And so a lot of times people are like, what is she talking about? To sum it up, because you're still not going to know until you actually do it, you go on wacky missions. I'll lead you through something to do right where you are in your home or your office that I'm pretty sure you've never done it before. And you do it right on the spot in 60 seconds. And it's hilarious to see what the other folks on the call are doing. And so it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think that sums it up right there. It takes you out of your comfort zone and puts you at a relaxed thing where you can receive what's about to happen. I know we did one year with our staff, and the staff was a little tense and uptight about, I don't know what all we were all up, you know how the staff can get sometime. And so you got something like, I'm not, what do they got here? I'm not going to do this and whatever. And so once, she would call them by names and pull them in. And then before you know it, they're doing the activity and they've let their guard down. They're open to receive what it is you're about to tell them or you're about to do. So it's just a great thing. And then, when you have parties, pulling everybody into the party is difficult. But, when you have somebody that's experiencing that and she's an actress, she knows how to work the audience virtually as well as in person. So I thought it was amazing. And I hope that you will continue to do it. I think it's a good thing for you to maybe market, uh, because you get to, plan when you want to do it. You can say, "Oh, I've got a party next week at da, can you do it?" You can say yes or no. And they say, "Okay, well, when are you open?" "I have an opening here." So it's a way to bring in extra money, which I thought was very, very creative. So,
And it's also, speaking of, careers and what it looks like, because you asked how do you get into the theater, or how do you get into film? It's also equally important to know and to craft how you will maintain as an artist in these fields. And you will very quickly learn, with the exception of a few people who are just stay booked in the one thing, um, that you have to pick up other things that can still feed your creativity, that still play to your talents. And that I was really fortunate to meet Kat in this scavenger hunt, because it opened up a world of hosting for me. I mean, I already knew I was good at it, but then it was like, here's the proof, because I'm doing it,
mhm.
So I now add host onto, my list of things that I do. Host, comedian, whatever, whatever it might be. And so it really helped me to see, oh, I can do this, and I enjoy it, and I'm good at it. Those
Right.
are That's always fun when you find something new that you're good at.
And you just said something too. I was going to ask you, so how do you, let people know about you? Do you have a Facebook page or a website, or where you can look at all these accolades? I know when you go to the theater, you get a playbill and it tells you a little bit about the person on there. But if they pull your name up, and I haven't done it in a while, but
You
where
haven't Googled me in a while.
I haven't Googled you in a while, but I know when I Googled you before, because I have another son-in-law too that's an actor, and I Google y'all every once in a while to kind of people ask me about you all. I say, "Oh, go look," and I've got to call his name. Avery Kid Waddell is my son-in-law, so you can Google him as well. But my daughter should have been way up there, but she went another different way. But she's still, her skills that she has are still there, and she uses them as a community organizer. So they all still have this theatrical kind of thing built in them. And of course, I see it in my grandchildren that are coming up as well. They are all theatrical. When we get together, they will say, "Nana, Nana, Papa, sit down. We want to put on a play for y'all." So so they will actually put on a production. So it's in the blood. But so do you have a Facebook page, or where you kind of each time you get through, you have to upload this information?
I have not really been good about um, social media. I need to do better. And it just, I don't know. A part of it can just be, you have to be healthy on social media.
Mhm.
And I've just found like it feels like another task for me, but I will do better.
Okay.
Um, I'll
I'm
probably,
gonna hold you to it. I'm
yeah.
calling you to it. I want to see your Facebook page. I want to see how, I want to see as soon as you get through with one production, it's up there, advertising where you're gonna go next.
I
So
will do that. I would say check my Instagram. My Facebook page is more of a personal page for me, and I don't really want a
right.
page. But Instagram, and
Okay.
I'll build a website soon. Yes.
Yeah.
Check my website that doesn't exist yet for all of the updates on what I'm doing.
Because I'm prophesying it to be so that you will
Yes,
have
you
something. And I'm saying that because I know you're so busy. Um, I've heard that a lot of people have what they call a publicist that does that for
Mhm.
them, because you're always right fresh out of it and you're exhausted and trying to catch up with the things you miss with your family and normal life, or you're getting ready to go into it, which you're, for a month all day, pretty much you're either getting ready to learn your lines or learning your lines and practicing. So it's like, I can just see it so that you would have to have somebody do that for you. Would that be
Mhm.
called a publicist, or what? What are the people you need to have in your life to help you do the things you can't do?
Um, Specifically with the website designer, you could just have a web designer help you make your website and continue to update it. You can send them your stuff, and they'll just keep updating it for you. Your publicist can guide you on what you need to put on there, and is making sure your name is out there on social media, or, getting bites from the local news stations, or
Yeah.
whatever hot new thing that you don't know about is coming down the pike. That's what a publicist can help you do. Same as a manager. I don't have a manager right now, but a manager can help you with that as well. But yes, when I get my website, I will not be.
Right. Well, I think that all of those take time and they take money.
Mhm.
And speaking of money, and I think I know the answer, but I'm just asking for other people. Do all of the theaters pay the same kind of money? And how do you get the most money? Do you negotiate or what?
I would recommend that everybody try to negotiate,
Okay.
but for most of the gigs in the theater that are union, the rate, because they're backed by what the union says they have to pay you. I'm not really super knowledgeable on how negotiation may or may not work when the union when the theater is going with the union guidelines.
Okay.
Um, outside of when you're like a name talent, like if I was Viola Davis, she's gonna tell them how much they're gonna pay her. But
Right.
I'm not Viola Davis. Um,
Yeah.
and yes, the prices are varying because the size of the theaters vary. And so when you're talking about equity houses, the Actors Theater Union is called Actors Equity. And if a theater is an equity house, and they're under the umbrella of what equities guidelines, equities contracting guidelines. So a small theater will pay you this much, a middle-sized theater is going to pay you this much, and a larger theater is going to pay you even more than that.
Right.
And that's just how that works.
And it makes
Um,
sense because they have more people, more tickets.
exactly.
If they can get, 1,500 people in there, then they got 1,500 ticket money. But if they can only get 200 people in there, they got 200 ticket money. So it makes sense.
Exactly.
But you said something that I had heard Avery, my son-in-law, say about the union. But I think if I remember him saying everybody can't join the union, you have to have criteria. Is that right? Or just you can
Yeah,
if you
there's certain amount of credits you have to have, or and qualifying credits. Actually, the pandemic actually changed that, but that's a whole nother thing that I'm not super well versed on for the theater equity anyways. Or you can have a theater and equity house offer you an equity card. That's what happened to me in like 2013. I think it wasn't long after we got married. A show I did at Stages Theater, they offered me the card to say, if you would like to become union, you can become union. And I chose to do it because I felt like it was the best thing for me. And
yeah.
it has been the best thing for me. And that's just the theater side. Now the SAG side, which is the Screen Actors Guild for all of TV and film,
Mhm.
that one is similar. You have to have a qualifying credits in order to do it. And I remember with SAG, honestly, they can almost force you to become, if you do so many SAG projects, like if you do this TV show and this film and this thing, they'll say, okay, well, you got to join in. You got to join in because you're covered under that umbrella and they want you to join. And when I did Underground, I learned that I had the credits needed, and I chose to become SAG.
Yeah. And I think from what I'm hearing from the people who've talked about it, that it protects you as an actor and actress, and also that they have to pay you a certain wage. But if
Mhm.
you're like in this big production, if you're not a member, they could pay you less and you have no say so about it. That's what I kind of heard. I don't know if that's true, that they would pay you
Yes,
less if you're not a member of the union.
yes, that can happen. If it's a SAG production, it's my understanding that everyone is going to get that SAG rate. However, the folks who are actually in SAG, were something to happen, like I don't know, there was no food one day,
Mhm.
or somebody didn't show up to do a job and then they are trying to get you to do it, something like that,
Mhm.
we would have the backing of the union to call and say, hey, something is not right over here. And there are union reps throughout the country who can come and say, come to this thing and investigate and see what's going on and put a stop to it. Just like,
To
any
protect you.
union would. Right. Actually, one of my mentors and friends told me when I was trying to decide if I wanted to become SAG, she was like, hey, when it comes to those residuals, if they don't send them to you for, whatever reason, if you are not a part of um, SAG, or if something goes down with your payment at any point, you're not a part of SAG, they're not going to prioritize you calling to say, hey, I didn't get my check. And so once she said that, I said, okay, well, I'll join, because if they don't send my check, it's going to be problematic for me. So just sign me up. And it's true, they have the friendliest people when you call the union, and they'll talk to you like, hey, what's going on? What do you need? And with Actors Equity, there's certain rules that the production has to follow. Like, we have to have breaks every so often. We have to have a certain length of breaks. There's a certain time that you can call us in, certain time that you have to let us go for the end of the day, those type of things.
Yeah.
And most people, try to do the right thing, even if they aren't a part of the union, will model those things. But it's a big difference when something goes awry,
Yes.
if you're a part of the union or not.
Right. Yeah. And that's important, because otherwise you got to go hire an attorney, or you got to get somebody, or either just got to let them do whatever they,
Yeah.
do. You don't have any say so about it. So, but it's good to be a part of people who work within the union too, because they know the rules and they will follow the rules, because they know if they don't, they're going to be um, having a little phone call or visit.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the last thing I just wanted to talk to you about, I know we talked a little bit about the ensemble and coming to First Met, but I know that you are a member there, and you've seen drama and things like that done throughout the church all your whole life. Did you ever have Easter speeches or anything like that in the church?
I'm not really. When I was at Brentwood, I was all about the drill team. I joined the drill team in 6th grade, and I went all the way up into
Oh,
12th grade. So
oh,
that was my thing.
you want to do the dancing, huh?
No, I was in the military drill team. You know how
Oh, the
people
military? I
marching.
didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Wow.
The drill team was my thing, and I loved being in the drill team.
Okay.
Um, it wasn't until I got to Wheeler, around the time that I was dating Jordan, that one of the reverends there, her daughter is actually a theater person as well, and is an actress. And she started doing some of the programming for Easter and Christmas, and we were able to connect. And she invited me to either be in the production, so I was in some of the Wheeler productions, and then she invited me to direct. So I directed some of the scenes for Easter and Christmas when I was at Wheeler. Um, they were not, full productions, but little scenes and things that
Yeah.
help
Mhm.
to tell the story.
All right. All right. Well, Wheeler's one of my favorite churches. I love them so much. And then, of course, you came out of Wheeler when you and Jordan were dating, is where you were going. And now you're at First Met. And at First Met, we love putting our babies up early. And
Yes.
so we do Easter speeches, Christmas speeches, and productions. Of course, your little ones have been in the productions. As a matter of fact, Jordan, your husband was our first baby Jesus in the play at First Met. And then
Yes.
during the pandemic, when your baby, our baby Jordan, the newest one, was born during the pandemic, he, of course, was the baby Jesus. And so just to see those two productions of baby
Mhm.
Jesuses of Jordan's at First Met was just really amazing. So what does church mean to you, and how does it kind of combine with, how do you see theater playing a part of, evangelizing or witness of getting the word out for Jesus Christ?
Oh, what church means to me, at the most basic level of, not only obedience and worship. Um, Jesus went to the church as was his custom. And so that's what we're supposed to do. And it's a wonderful opportunity to worship with some folks who actually can sing. That, you know, you get your best praise at church. And as far as theater is related, I feel just fortunate that I go to a church where you and Bishop and Pastor Johnny and Q really embrace the theatrical ministry. So I'm fortunate that I can go and use my talents in a very obvious and well supported way to highlight the biblical themes. And then where I feel like the evangelizing comes in is when the actors are up there, you know, their word is going to hit them. I don't know all the time if they're believers or not when they're performing, but that word hits them. It pierces their heart. Sometimes that might be the only church service that those folks are going to. And then when you invite folks to come see it, it's a whole ministry aspect in itself, because it's like I'm bringing you to not only look at something that I was involved in, but look at Jesus. You know, Jesus, look at these nice, friendly folks who are welcoming you and who want you to come back. So I think that answered your question, Lady. I just feel fortunate to be able to use my talents in that way. And I feel like the ministry aspect of it comes with all of the people of the collaborative process being there, who inevitably are going to hear the message. They're going to hear it. They're going to experience it.
Yeah, they come for a play or they come for a production, an act, and they end up getting Jesus. And as we get ready to close, I just got really tickled here thinking that that's how you and Jordan met. You came because your Uncle Al was in a play. Yes. But when you came to see the play, but you saw your husband. You found your husband at a production at first met. So we're so glad you came to the production.
So am I.
And with that, we're going to say thank you, Michelle Elaine, for coming to be our guest today. We look forward to seeing you at First Metropolitan Church on Easter Sunday morning at 8 a.m. or at 11 a.m. because, wait a minute, is that right?
8 and 11.
8 and 11, I get those times because after 12 becomes p.m. All right. So in the morning, Easter Sunday morning at 8 and 11, be at First Metropolitan Church. You're going to see the ensemble. You'll get to meet Michelle and even see her family or whatever. But it's going to be a great, great, great theatrical production in honor of our Christ. So with that, I'm going to have to go. But it's been great being here with you. Share this with someone else, invite someone. You can be an evangelist just by inviting someone to come see the production on Easter. And guess what? They're going to meet Jesus. So thank you for joining me today at 3 at Tea with T for Lady O. And anyway, I'm all tie-tongue because I'm excited about seeing you next Sunday for Easter. So share the show and I'll see you again the following Sunday for another adventure for Tea with Lady O at 3. All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.